Hi guys, here's another video lesson for your violin practice, and please do email me or have your parents text me if you have any problems or if I'm going too fast or anything, because I definitely don't, I want to make sure I'm giving you the help that you need. So feedback is really important. So this is Sabrina. She's the scaredy cat, and she was actually just hanging out asking me to pet her, so I picked her up before I started the video. Anyway, you can see she's all black and she's so sweet and sometimes gets in fights with the other cats. I'll let her down now. There you go. Good girl. All right. So let's get on with today's lesson. All right, we'll start with tuning like we usually do. And I hope my D string sounds a little bit flat. Okay, so here's your A. All right, and here's your D. All right, and your G. And your E. All right, sorry, Sabrina's sitting here on my feet. She usually doesn't do that. It tickles. All right, so let's go ahead and review. We have B flat was our new note on page 20. Okay, so I'm going to play a little exercise you can practice at home too to practice hearing the difference. But if we do A, B, A, B, then A, B flat, A, B flat, okay? And you can also do it from B to C and then B flat to C to practice hearing the difference. So B, C, B, C, now B flat, C, B flat, C. All right, so just like when we learned the low second finger and I think the high third finger we already covered as well, we want to make sure that changing your first finger does not pull any of its neighbors back, okay? So second finger still needs to be in between the second and third finger tapes when you play C natural. You're usually going to have, when you have B flat in the key signature, you're going to have C natural also. So that low 2 usually goes with low 1. If you have low 1, you're going to have low 2, unless there's an accidental. Sometimes there's an accidental. You can hear that makes a very exotic sound. So get used to having that whole finger space between the fingers there, okay? So, all right. Good. So let's go ahead and play Rolling Along number 93. And I'll go slowly and you can play along with me, okay? Turn this a little bit so you can see everything. All right, here we go. Number 93. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. So I've talked before about our finger patterns and having colors and stuff. And I think in summer camp I handed out a sheet. So I'm going to show you that sheet and I'll have them for you when we come back to the classroom. So I told you that we have a total of 6 finger patterns. This book actually says we have 8. I don't know. I mean, yeah, 8. I don't know that I agree 100% with that. These 4 are all very uncommon. She calls them contractions. So these are the 4 most common finger patterns that we're going to use, okay? And we've done the red, that's your finger tapes, and the blue, that's with the low second finger, and then the yellow with the pink. All right, so you see we have the first finger, on the line, second finger on the line, third finger in between third and fourth finger tape, and then fourth finger on the tape. All right, so what we can do, and I apologize, I don't have finger tapes on my instrument. Maybe I can do that next week. But so what we can do is by shifting the whole hand back so that we have low 1, then we have a whole space to the low 2 in between the tapes. Third finger then would go on the line, and fourth finger would go right next door between the third and fourth finger tapes. All right, so it's the same finger pattern. It's just the low yellow finger pattern is what we could call it, okay? Now, another way we could also look at it is occasionally we do have, you see how the first, second, and third fingers line up with from the yellow to the green finger pattern, but sometimes we also have the stretched fourth finger a whole step away, okay? So if we're doing it with a low 1, which is what we're practicing right now, we would have the green with a low 1, so maybe we could call it a low green finger pattern, all right? And the 1 would be low, the 2 would be low, the 3 on the tape, just like the yellow, and then the fourth finger would also be on the tape. I'll show you what those look like here in a second. I just wanted to show you this chart, all right, to show you what we're talking about. And like I said, I'll have copies of that for you, or maybe I can scan them in and email them to your parents so they can print it so you have it at home. But it's a great reference for figuring out where half steps are. If you ever start studying pieces of your own, you can kind of map, and you'll use different finger patterns on different strings for one song, okay? It all depends on the notes. So, if we have, you see when I play the first finger on the tape, okay, you see there's space between my first finger and the nut right here, okay? So if I use the yellow finger pattern on the first finger tape, regular yellow finger pattern, I play B, C sharp, D sharp, and fourth finger on the tape for E. Okay, I think we learned it over on the D string to play G sharp for the low octave A scale a couple pages ago, right before all of this happened. So E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Okay, and then if I repeat that finger pattern over on the A string, I get a whole scale. Okay, so this yellow finger pattern is actually my secret weapon for accomplishing any scale I want to. I just start on first finger and I do that yellow finger pattern and I get the scale if I go on 2 strings. But anyway, I can cover that another time. So if we start with our B flat, so you see I slid my hand down, so it's between the first finger tape and the nut, and I use my yellow finger pattern. I have my third finger would be on the tape. So B flat, C, D, E flat. Okay, which we haven't officially learned E flat yet. So if I put my fourth finger on the tape, then I have now the green finger pattern. So low 1, B flat, 2, C natural, 3 on the tape, D, fourth finger on the tape, E. Okay, so here are some finger exercises you can do to practice those. We'll start with the yellow finger pattern, and we'll call it our low yellow finger pattern because we're going to start with low 1, okay? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to play O, 1, 2, 3, 4 right next door. Remember, it's the yellow finger pattern. And then I start 4, 3, 2, 1, open. All right, so you'll hear it in a second. Here we go. Open, 1, 2, 3, low 4. All right, so I'm doing ta-ti, pepperoni pizza. All right, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that on the E string first because we've been practicing on the A string, but you can do that with all the finger patterns, okay? So if I want to practice my red one. Doesn't really matter if I know the notes, I'm practicing my finger pattern, okay? So then I do it with the blue one. Okay, now with the yellow, regular yellow, okay, with the high 3. Okay, and then with the green, I'm going to have a whole step between all the fingers. Now I'm going to do it with the low yellow, which is the notes that we're practicing today. And the low green, okay? Alright, so I would do that, then I go to the A string and do the same thing. I'm just going to do the low yellow and the low green today. And now the low green. Okay, so try and stretch that fourth finger, but I'm not too concerned if that's not a tune because our focus in this lesson is on the first finger, all right? So then you can move to the D string, do the same thing. Low yellow first. Okay, and remember that third and fourth finger are right next to each other, touching, you can see there, okay? And now the green, I have that space between all my fingers. Let's see if I can show you. There we go. Okay, you can see I have that whole note, that whole finger width space between each of my fingers. Okay, and that fourth finger, right, was in tune with the A string. All right, and one more time on the G string. I'll start with the low yellow. Okay, and this is probably the hardest one because you got to stretch that fourth finger. Okay, so I'm going to do the low green now. Okay, so I hope you heard that my fourth finger matched my D string. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. We'll review the finger exercises and the finger patterns again in some future lessons. So I'm going to kind of fly through a little bit right now. I was going to do some listening exercises, but this video is getting really long, so I'll save those for next time. Page 21, we're learning a new note, F natural. Okay, and that's your low one, so it's the same finger pattern we just did on the A string where we had our low one for B flat, right? So we had A, B flat, C, D, E, okay? And now we're going to go to the E string and do the same finger pattern, and we're going to have low one, F natural, okay? So let's read F, number 95. Okay, now the way you know that it's F natural is by looking at the key signature. There's no sharp in the key signature, so that tells us that we use the low one on the E string, right? All right, so here we go. Number 95, let's read F. Okay, so I hope you saw when I had that whole finger space between those notes up there. All right, number 96, technique tracks. Pretty much the same thing. We're just using the same notes in a different order. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? All right, good job. So now, number 97, we have a new key signature, and that is F major. Now this one and C are the two that you have to memorize, if you remember, because they don't, at sight, they don't follow the rule. Okay, C has no sharps, no flats, so you can't count up from a sharp or, count backwards on flats. F major you have to memorize because there's only one flat. The rule for finding a key signature in a flat key signature is to go to the second to last flat, and that's the name of the key signature. But because F only has one, you can't count backwards, right? So you just have to memorize that one flat in the key signature is the key of F, and that first flat is going to be B. All right, just like our sharps go in the same order all the time. Remember that silly sentence I put on the board, fuzzy cats get dirty after every bath. That's our order of sharps. And our flats is actually the same thing in reverse, but you can come up with a silly sentence. And the one I like to use is big elephants and dumb giraffes can't fly. So I hope you can rewind and write that down somewhere in a notebook to help you remember, because it comes up over and over and over again in music, all right? So flats are always in the same order. B is the first one, and it's our F major key signature. So we're going to do the F major scale, number 97. And if you have trouble and can't play it along with me right away, remember to do your brain work and do the 4 steps, right? And remember, we're using our low second finger because we have no sharps in the key signature. And we're using our low first finger for A on the A string to play B flat because that's in the key signature, and low first finger on the E string for F natural. Okay? All right, so here we go. I'm going to play number 97. Ready, go. Great. And then number 98 is our last exercise for this week. And I included a link in the video, in the description for listening to the whole Beethoven Violin Concerto. Hilary Hahn plays it, and it's a PBS special that I found on YouTube. So this theme, you can hear it starting about 2 minutes and 15 seconds into it. The orchestra does kind of a little introduction bit first, and then they introduce the theme, and then the violin solo joins in after. So the theme that the orchestra plays is what we're playing for song number 98. All right, so here we go. I'm going to play it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. So I played it kind of on the slow side because it's marked andante, and the orchestra does go a little bit faster, but I hope you enjoy the recording of the Beethoven Concerto, and maybe next week my bonus video will be a piece of that for you. All right. Thanks, and let me know if you have any problems so I know what I need to go over again, okay? Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.